Yeah, okay, I played Charlie Cavendish Scott. I'm kind of 1/5 of the gang who steal the gold. And yeah, I think Charlie's always trying to kind of find his role in the group. That's kind of what interested me about him. He's always trying to justify his position because he kind of, there's this kind of, I think, reverse snobbery with Charlie, where it's almost like, because he came from quite a privileged background, he's always trying to fight against that stereotype and always kind of find his place within the group. And yeah, so it's been interesting, yeah. It's quite hard to focus it down to one thing, because I think as the nature of Snatch, it's kind of always evolving and changing and twisting. But the bare bones of it, I guess, is 3 friends, all who dabble in a bit of minor criminal activity. They try and fiddle this fight, this boxing match where Billy is kind of tipped to win, and we kind of play with the odds and put all our money on him to win, only to be turned over by Sonny Castillo, who's this terrifying Cuban gangster / nightclub owner. We then get a tip-off from his girlfriend that an armoured truck with a large amount of the takings from the nightclub are going to be in a certain place at a certain time. And we plan on hitting the truck and stealing the money. We're there at the right time, the right place, where we get the wrong truck, and we find millions and millions of pounds worth of gold bullion. And it's kind of about how these 3 quite naive characters are completely out of their depth with this gold, and it's about the unique ways they try and move it and hopefully get a bit of money out of it. I think, yeah, I mean, predominantly I was a huge fan of the film. Snatch is this kind of iconic, classic movie that I remember watching when it came out, and it was just, yeah, it was nothing really like it. It was kind of, well, obviously Lock, Stock, 2 Smoking Barrels, but it was kind of, it just had this amazing feel to it, and it was very stylized, and it just had this really punchy, snappy energy to it that was kind of quite different at the time. And yeah, and have the opportunity to transfer that into a series, I think is really interesting. Gives you a lot more opportunity to kind of develop the characters, and I think that's what we've really done with our version of Snatch. I mean, it's obviously kind of not a direct connection, but it's that same world, and I think with the scripts they've really kind of kept that essence of Snatch, which is important, I think. Yeah, I think it's in the dialogue. I think it's that kind of punchy, snappy, kind of heightened London kind of talk. And I think, yeah, and it's all about the pace and the rhythm. And yeah, and as I say, it's kind of quite a stylized movie. It's a lot of that is in the edit and stuff like that. And the characters are very kind of big and bold, and comedy is kind of I mean, it's predominantly a comedy, I think, and it's having that humour, I think, is really important. And certainly for a lot of the characters, I think we all have kind of troubled, dysfunctional families, and all from very different places, and we're all kind of like lost boys, really. We're all trying to escape something and find something better than what we've got. And certainly with Charlie, I think he's grown up in this very strange, and certainly in the kind of this world of Snatch, it's kind of quite, he's a bit of an alien. He doesn't really fit, and I think he's always kind of felt that. His parents are these kind of aristocratic, bohemian kind of hippies that just have these weird orgies and live in this kind of derelict house. And he's never really kind of been able to relate to that, and as a result, he's kind of been brought up by a butler, who they've kind of, despite not having any money at all, they've kind of kept him on, and yeah, he's kind of been my dad. And I think Charlie's always, whenever he goes home, it's it's always a different tone to when he's with the boys. It's a lot kind of more difficult for him. He's always trying to just kind of ignore it and get away from it. And yeah, I think that puts him in it's a strange position in the group, because he's forever being frustrated about kind of being proper Charlie, born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He wants to kind of always fight against that and prove himself as kind of, he can still be quite handy little gangster. And he has his moments, but he's not the most natural fit into this world, but he definitely enjoys it. Yeah, we get into a lot of kind of scrapes, and I mean, it's usually Charlie who kind of causes all the problems. He makes things more complicated because he's not a natural hardened criminal, really. None of them are really. But yeah, he likes to drink. I spent a lot of this series being intoxicated in some form, whether we drink or ecstasy, which has been quite fun to kind of play with that. I think that's kind of a coping mechanism for him. He kind of, particularly as the series goes on, it kind of becomes more of a problem. Yeah, there's so many. That's what I loved about working on this. It's all kind of, the gold heist was really great. It was really fun. I mean, we could see it. We actually did it. We crashed a forklift truck into the side of this armoured vehicle and pulled the gold out. And it just felt really cool. And Charlie got to be a little bit tough in that one. I took a shotgun, I disarmed someone, which is quite fun. But yeah, I mean, there's so many. I love the costumes as well. They're all really great. I think it's got a very kind of, it's got a lot of style, I think. I mean, everyone's kind of quite dressed, and it's quite an ambiguous world, I think. It's not kind of quite reality. It's somewhere in between. And yeah, it's been. And one of my favourite props has been a cane. Charlie has to pretend he's a lord in a scene, and I get to have this cane, and I loved holding that. It felt very, very right. Yeah, I suppose I mean, a lot of it came from the page. I mean, it's the writing. Alex's writing is really good, and it just kind of naturally, you kind of find it. But I mean, I looked at a lot of Prince Harry videos, that kind of certain, kind of lazy, kind of upper class tone. You don't really hear it that often really now. I think Charlie is quite a rare breed. He's kind of cut from a different cloth to everyone else, and there's also an interesting thing about him. He still has this, although he has nothing, and he's by no means kind of got any money, but he still keeps up this appearance and this pride, and that's kind of quite important to him. Where he comes from, his family, and yeah, it's fun to play with that. Yeah, I mean, so completely different directors, which is really good actually. It's kind of interesting, especially when you're on a day where you kind of flick between both of them. The sets have very different feels, and they all both bring their own kind of unique, kind of snatchy spin onto to their scenes, and it's been great. I mean, Nick is this kind of, I kind of identified Nick with Charlie quite a lot. He is kind of an adult form of Charlie, which is quite useful to kind of just watch him, because he's this kind of crazy, has this amazing energy that's kind of quite detached from reality in many ways, but he's just very intelligent and just knows this world and has such a kind of unique perspective on the scenes, which is really interesting. And Lawrence is great. I've only really kind of just begun with Lawrence, but yeah, he's just really smart and a real kind of actor's director. He really is very keyed into that, and I'm really enjoying working with both. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, we're having so much fun. I mean, we're all kind of quite a similar age, and I think we're playing characters that are all kind of very different, and it's been really fun. Especially when we haven't had that many scenes together, but like all of us as a group. But it's yeah, no, it's really interesting the way that kind of dynamic is kind of evolving, and it makes things very complicated, especially when the girls arrive. Yeah, yeah, looking forward to some scenes we've got coming up. It's going to be interesting. Do you know, I always get asked this, and it's like, I'm so bad at kind of remember. I'm sure there has been. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's nice to kind of break up, because there's a lot of kind of quite serious scenes. It's nice to kind of break that up with a bit of fun. I mean, we have a great time set. It's such a great atmosphere. Everyone's really behind it, and yeah, it's been fun. But I can't think of any specific pranks. Yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky. It's been great to work with such a variety of different people, and I mean, although some of them kind of are popping in and out, they're really adding to the world. And I think, yeah, I mean, let's start with Brian, Uncle Dean, or the Gypsy Gab, I should say, is yeah, it's amazing. It's so atmospheric, all those things. I mean, I wasn't involved in a lot of them, but particularly I remember the smelting scene was really cool. We had this lady playing the fiddle, and it was fires, and it felt really, really cool. And yeah, and also obviously David Bamber as well, who played staff, and we've got some fun scenes together. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. Really enjoying it. But my dad used to tell me about it. I think it happened like in the 80s, early 80s, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I mean, I didn't really kind of focus too much on it, because obviously this is a very different kind of take on that. The only thing that's really, yeah, I mean, there's only a few kind of similarities you can really draw from it, but it's quite cool that this actually happened, and this was a real thing. It's so far away from my world, I just can't really imagine what it's like. But yeah, really cool. Yeah, it's kind of it's such a big part of Snatch. That whole world is well, pikey is a derogatory word for a traveller, a gypsy. And yeah, I mean, they play quite heavily in Snatch, in the original movie, and Billy is half gypsy, half traveller, and yeah, so we kind of have quite a steady relationship with this camp of travellers, and yeah, I mean, it is a real kind of culture thing, and yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say. Really, I mean, it's fun.